Over the past few weeks, Senegal has tested its status as one of West Africa's most democratic and stable states. A 5-week political and constitutional impasse was triggered by the outgoing government's chaotic attempt to postpone the elections by 10 months. Instead, Senegal's viable state institutions and independent judiciary prevailed, and the election was delayed by just 1 month. The outgoing government tried to delay the vote because it feared that the populist opposition would seize power and imperil Senegal's positive economic trajectory. Last year, the government's attempts to exclude the opposition from the elections triggered several days of violence in the capital Dakar and major cities such as St. Louis in the north and Ziguinchor in the south. Then, youthful protesters staged arson attacks on government buildings and public infrastructure, as well as commercial assets associated with France, which has supported the outgoing administration. The stakes are high in Senegal's election as the country has received interest from foreign investors to develop its offshore hydrocarbon assets and finance renewable energy projects. As a result, Senegal has been one of Africa's fastest-growing economies in recent years. When the hydrocarbon projects come on stream, Senegal will become a major exporter of liquefied natural gas and crude oil, whereas its main exports now are fish products and phosphates. The production of natural gas will also help the country wean itself off expensive imports of heavy fuel oil to drive its generators and phase out costly fuel and electricity subsidies. The IMF has already warned that Senegal's recurring budget deficits are unsustainable and that subsidies will need to be lifted. Senegal's debt burden has increased during the pandemic and borrowing costs have been impacted by this year's political crisis. The country's most popular opposition leaders have promised to review and possibly renegotiate the hydrocarbon contracts, which has alarmed foreign investors. Senegal has no history of state expropriation or contract cancellation risks, and many investment contracts are protected by international law. Any incoming government would be more likely to probe corruption allegations under the outgoing administration, particularly affecting procurement contracts with local companies. The opposition has also watered down promises to leave the CFA currency union and adopt a new national currency. The CFA currency is pegged to the euro and has brought down inflation in recent months. Senegal is due to start gas production and LNG exports later this year, which will make it a primary supplier of energy to Europe, alongside major producers such as Angola and Nigeria. The outcome of this election will determine Senegal's investment climate for years to come.